Hello fellow modelers, Bruce here. Thought I would just do a short video to focus on adding bracing to the back of wood-scribed walls, like in this little line-side structure that I have here from Glorcraft, and in particular how I support the roof on pretty much every structure I build. This is a relatively small structure, so the supports and the bracing that I put on, I can get away with 3/32 by 3/32 strip wood. Larger models I will use most often 1/8 by 1/8. Every once in a while I have to go a little bit larger than that if the walls are either quite warped or quite large. But at any rate, let's take a quick look at what I'm going to do here. The first thing that you can notice is that basically the walls are not warped. These side walls will be glued between the two end walls when I assemble it, and what I will probably do is reinforce, let the glue set just by holding it at 90 degrees here between the walls. And I like to make two L's, one end wall with a side wall, the other end wall with a side wall, and then glue the L's together. Before I do that though, I will reinforce the inside of that joint with another piece of the square bracing, and in this case I can get away with that 3/32 by 3/32. Okay, so that's it. I told you these are basically not warped, but what I will do on the side walls, the longer side walls, is glue one strip near the top of the wall and one right at the bottom, and I'll do that so that I have some gluing surface to put a wood base which will act as the floor and the foundation of this structure. So one right on the bottom and one close to the top, leaving enough room on each edge so that I can get my corner bracing in when I want to add that, when I want to glue something to sturdy up that corner. So yeah, cut it back, 1/8 of an inch or so, or hold it back 1/8 of an inch from each end. Strip top and bottom. On the end walls, which are actually less warped, less tendency to warp, and this wall I've already glued the doors and the door frames to the outside of the wall. I will put one strip along the bottom, again to help glue the bottom to the structure. But at the top, this is what I always do. I am going to glue a piece of wood like that and another one like that, parallel to the line of the peaked roof, and I'll show you how I measure where to put those. Now they have several purposes. First purpose is to act as a brace to prevent warping. Don't forget I'm going to have another one down here. But the other thing is that these are going to be what I glue cross beams on, two of them probably, that go from one peaked end to the other peaked end. And then I'll have some better gluing surface for the roof panels. Otherwise, if you just followed their instructions, you glue the roof, and this is your gluing surface basically along the edge of the side wall and here on the top. If you have beams going this way, down flush with the top of the end walls, you have all this additional gluing surface, and that's what I always do. They do call for one at the peak of the roof. That's what they would rely on, going back and forth. I will glue that up there, but mainly my roof is going to be glued to these boards that run longitudinally down the building. So let's just see how I get those in place. Let me put a little bit of glue onto my glue pad here. And I've already cut these strips to about the right length. And I just want to put glue on one face. You don't need too much glue. You don't need it oozing out all over the place. All right. So again, I want to leave room top and bottom on the top so that this beam that I glue up here going from side to side has enough room, and on the bottom so that those corner braces have clearance for when I do the corners. Now, how do I get that spaced right? I take another piece of 3/32 by 3/32 square strip wood, put the peak of the end wall right against my angle block, put that piece of wood in, and then push this brace that I'm gluing in tight against it. What that will do, of course, is give me just the right amount of space there so that when I glue these on this way, they come level with the peaked roof. And I do that, I don't care whether I'm building out of styrene or whether I'm building out of wood. That's how I do my roofs. I glue those pieces near the peak. Let me get the other one in a minute. And then space it so I have enough room for my roof cross braces to fit in when they're dry. You just got to plan ahead a little bit, but you know, you put this kind of bracing on prior to assembling the walls together. So again, I somewhat have it spaced. Place that tight against my angle block. Put another piece of 3/32 by 3/32 in there, and then push it up tight. And now I have just enough room between this brace, also going to be like a joist support, and the top of the roof line to fit my 3/32 by 3/32 piece. Knock that one loose, so let me always happens, of course, when you're filming, otherwise it works just hunky-dory. But I will reposition this one. Double check this one. Okay, put this down here for right now, put some weight on, and let that dry. I will be gluing the support down at the bottom too, both to act as a prevention for warping and a gluing surface for the floor. And that's it. That's kind of how I do all my roofs. I'll come back in a little while to show you just how those braces fit on top of it. Talk to you then. Okay, time to finish up this little short video on interior bracing and how I do my roof supports. As I tried to describe in the first part of this video, you can see here on this side wall that I have one brace right along the bottom that'll help me glue the floor on, the other brace near the top, and that was enough to keep this wall nice and straight. Here's the way the end wall looks with one right on the bottom, and these two spaced so that I can put cross beams between the two end walls, which I'll show you in a second. I have not glued these two walls together yet into an L because I still need to glue the acetate on the inside of this window, and I need to put the hinges on these doors and some doorknobs, and I want to do that before I glue the ends together. So tonight I'll paint the hinges and the smoke jack black and install those, and I can glue those walls tomorrow. In the meantime, I have here, using this angle block, glued one end wall and one side wall together. So that's the back wall and the right hand wall. And again, you can see the bracing. And I glued the two walls together and then reinforced it in the corner with another one of those 3/32 square pieces of strip wood. So that's one L. And then I will do the other L and then glue the walls together. If I just put this other end wall standing here for the moment, let me put some weight on this end wall so that it doesn't keep pushing away from me. So yeah, there's the two walls together, and this will give you an idea of how I then can glue my roof supports in place. They come up nice and flush, right, even with this top edge of the end walls. And I'll put one there, and this one isn't to length yet, but another one down here. It gives me good stability on the roof, good gluing surface, and so forth. And that's how I do all my roofs. You just have to think ahead to glue these on the end walls and space them properly as I showed you, and then you're ready to go. So this little structure will come together pretty quickly. Once I get the four walls on, I'll take care of measuring the floor. Of course, I still have the roof to do, but the roof supports will be in. And then, if you recall, and maybe you don't, but this structure has a little toolbox on the outside that I still have to fabricate. And that goes on this end wall here, or side wall, excuse me, here. All right, that's it for this little short video on bracing and how I do my roof supports. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, just give it a thumbs up, please. It takes you 10 seconds, doesn't cost you a dime, and really helps promote my channel. And if you have not done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Talk to you again soon. In the meantime, happy modeling.